We are in the middle of July, in the municipality of Nanacamilpa, Tlaxcala. This means only one thing: the long-awaited arrival of the Firefly watching season is here. This picturesque place witnesses every year the arrival of several hundred nature lovers, who enthusiastically come from different places to be part of one of the most wonderful phenomena in our planet. The Firefly sighting season in Nanacamilpa is between June and mid-August. Here, one of the most amazing displays of nature and stimulating to the senses take place. Although there are numerous sites where they can be observed, around 26 authorized sites on this side of the country. Since our adventure in the forest begins at night, we have to take the opportunity to enjoy the surroundings, including a delicious breakfast in this cozy town. The gastronomy of this place is quite varied and includes bean, ayocote or broad bean, tlacoyos, escamoles, huitlacoche quesadillas, cornfield, bean, nopales soup, tlatlapas or tlaxcalteca soup, chicken tocatlan, michotes and mutton barbecue, pulque meat, red and green sesame pipián, accompanied by delicious white or blue corn handmade tortillas, among others. This small town is called San Felipe Hidalgo, and it is beautiful. On one side is the Laguna Azul Tourist Center, and it is where we are going to be spending the night. Here you can rent cabins from $60 a night, and you can camp for $5 per person. I chose to camp, but you do have to take some extra precautions. Remember that here the temperature drops considerably, so you have to come well prepared and have a suitable sleeping bag for this type of weather. In a coniferous and oyamel forest, fireflies have decided to carry out their annual courtship ritual. The forest sparkles particularly joyful at the arrival of these phenomenal flying beetles. Without a doubt, an authentic show for all the senses, and more than that, for the soul. In some places, when conditions are optimal, the number of lights is such that it seems that one is floating among the stars. Like any side of this nature, where we humans find ourselves invading the territory of some natural species, there are some measures that must be carried out to protect the fireflies. Some of them are: do not take pictures with a flash or any type of light for that matter, no cell phones or anything similar. Do not wear shoes or fluorescent clothing. Try to make as little noise as possible. And when walking, be very careful because some of them are on the ground, and obviously we don't want to step on them. So please watch your step and also not to slip and fall. And finally, do not use insect repellents. Oh, and something else. Take a raincoat just in case. It is very common for it to rain this time of year. Something very important to take into account is that the temperature drops considerably. so you must be properly dressed in order to stay warm. Comfortable shoes are extremely important because you are going to walk in the middle of the forest, preferably hiking boots. Also, check the lunar calendar well, since the full moon is one of the factors that inhibits the fireflies. So take it into account before making your reservations. Please always keep in mind that it is a privilege for us to enter the natural habitat of the fireflies and observe this incomparable ritual. Let's take care of them, because incidentally, the population of fireflies is decreasing by leaps and bounds. We will talk about that in a minute. The guided tour here at Laguna Azul Tourist Center is $15 per adult and $7.50 per child. But why do fireflies glow? I'm glad you asked. It is important to know that they are actually toxic due to the generation of lucibufagins. The brightness or bioluminescence is generated as a result of a chemical reaction that occurs when luciferin is oxidized by the luciferase enzyme. That is when light is produced, but interestingly enough, they hardly generate any heat. So we can say that they are, in fact, the most effective light bulb there is. Fireflies live an average of 2 months and use their light, among other things, to warn predators of their toxicity as a defense mechanism by emitting a clear signal that they are not tasty at all. Adults also use it as a kind of flirtation or courtship to attract a partner. Firefly light is usually intermittent and glows in a specific way for each species. Each glow is an optical signal that helps fireflies find potential mates. Scientists don't know exactly how fireflies regulate the process of turning their lights on and off. About 2,000 species of fireflies are known. These beetles, which are often called insects, live in various warm environments and in more temperate regions. Fireflies like humidity quite a bit and are therefore often found in humid regions of Asia and the Americas. In drier areas, they can be found in the vicinity of wet or swampy areas that retain moisture. The females lay their eggs on the ground, and this is where the larvae develop to adulthood. The larvae feed underground on worms and slugs, which they first numb by injecting them with paralyzing fluid. Adults refrain from eating this class of prey and generally feed on nectar and pollen, if they do eat at all. Some adults have been known to ingest no food at all. And their light, as already mentioned, is a vital part of their mating ritual. The systematic flashes of light they emit tend to be amber, pale green, yellow, and blue. The blue phantom firefly is the one that glows with a dim blue light. Interestingly, they use a flashing light system that synchronizes if more than one is present. Although most species of fireflies light up, there is one category that has little to no glare. These types of fireflies are believed to be the most primitive species. Those of this type tend to use pheromones or a similar hormonal odor, rather than light, to attract the opposite sex for mating purposes. A firefly actually has a short life, whose only objective is to mate and procreate. On the other hand, the larva lives for about a year before it becomes an adult and mates. When endangered by predators, some species of fireflies distill drops of blood through a process called reflex bleeding. This blood contains chemical compounds that give it a bitter taste. Their blood can also be toxic to some animals. Consequently, most animals do not eat fireflies. Even so, some frogs are known to eat them. If you have pet reptiles, they should never be fed fireflies. Some species feed on other fireflies. That's right, cannibalism at its best. These are known as poachers, also known as the fatal female. The female firefly of this kind mimics the flashes of another species, called photinus, to attract males for food. This is to say, she learns the language of another species to later communicate with them and thus carry out her evil plan of attracting a male and devouring him mercilessly. Generally, the males are the ones who fly, flashing their light, while the females wait patiently in the trees, grasses, and bushes. If the female sees a male she likes, she starts flashing her own light to attract them. This natural spectacle is so special that it will take your breath away. Studies reveal that 20 minutes a day in contact with nature keeps you in good health. It is like a medicine, but with no side effects whatsoever. Mating conditions are perfect for only a few hours a week and only a few weeks a year. It is very difficult to capture this wonderful spectacle with a regular camera like the one I'm using. Let's just say that it is one of those experiences that you really have to live yourself. For now, here's a little taste, which, by the way, could never be compared to the real live experience. Many different species of the fireflies are disappearing as a consequence of human development. As their natural habitat becomes shorter and shorter, the female ceases to shine and the male cannot find her and dies. So they do not mate, and hence the decline of many of these species. As we extend to grow and expand our territory with our lights, we turn off thousands and thousands of them. I'm very grateful for having been fortunate enough to have a wonderful experience with these little ones. And I assure you that it has been one of the most enlightening experiences of my life. Let's take care of the firefly now that we can, so that future generations can also write about their own experience with them.